In your student folder, I have saved a Reflections Part 2 folder. You go to the Aperture photo shoot and you open Folder 2, Aperture Photographer Research and Analysis. You can see here I've labelled each of the PowerPoints to do, to read or to watch. The to watch PowerPoint will be this video that I'm making now. To read is the research and analysis guide that you've looked at before. That looks like this, and I'll go through some of that in just a moment. And the to do is what you need to open and change and work on. There we go. All things that you need to change are in dark green, and a green hand indicates that you need to do something, you need to put something somewhere. Once those changes have been made, you should then be changing the look of the PowerPoint to make it your own. The second slide has got some words that you might need, so I've grouped those into colour, texture, space, composition, viewpoints, moods, for example, and then there are also some bits to help you, some further things that you can click on if you want to go a bit deeper. I've also got some words that link to reflections to help you out as well. So these next two slides now need to focus on just one photographer. So you choose which photographer you would like to copy the style of, and at the moment we're working with Aperture, so you should be choosing a photographer that's used Aperture in their work, so either a sharp background or a blurry background is a key feature of their work. So you'll need to choose that photographer and add the name here. The whole point of choosing this photographer is there is something about their work that you want to copy. So for example, I'm going to be looking at Beta Lubas, and I'm going to be, when I do my photo shoot, I'm going to be making a photo shoot that features food in it and will be similar to her style. That's the whole point. If you want to do somebody different, say for example if you want to do a photo shoot about shoes, you should do a photographer that has taken lots of photos of shoes instead. If you get stuck thinking of who you want to do because you know what kind of photo shoot you would like to do, I would suggest that you message me on Teams and say, I would like to do a photo shoot to do with this, can you suggest any photographers? So on these two slides I'm going to insert 6 photos, 3 on this slide and 3 on this slide, and I'm going to change the writing here. I'm not going to sit and do that now, that's your job to do. That's a fairly easy bit, it shouldn't take you more than 20 minutes, 30 minutes maybe. The difficult bit that I will talk through is the analysis. So I'm going to choose a Beta Lubas photo and I'm going to talk through what I would write for each of these bits here. If you're doing a different photographer, you basically need to read the prompts and change the writing to fit the photograph that you're talking about here. So for my Beta Lubas photo, I'm going to choose this photo of the cake and I'm going to insert it here. I couldn't find any information on the website about it, but what I could do is put a web link, let's see, to her portfolio underneath. So then you are prompted to tell me what you can see in the photo. Use the sentence starters below to help you. Subject matter. The main theme of this image is cake. There is also cutlery and a plate. The background of the image is a chair and a light coloured backdrop. The photographer has used, I'd say this is a pretty neutral colour palette. So the photographer has used a neutral colour palette, and I'm going to put here, although the seeds on the cake are very bright, this has created I'm going to say it's quite a cheerful mood to this photo. The photographer's used a central composition, I think. So if I get stuck with any of this, remember I've got my guide that's over here. Where's my guide gone? Here. So I've got my guide to look at that's got all sorts of different words that I can be looking at and using. Taken from I'm going to say that's fairly eye level viewpoint. So you can see all I'm doing is going through and making some decisions about what I feel about the picture. If I get stuck on anything, I need to sit and have a bit more of a think. I could message a friend who's doing the same photograph and try and talk through it with them. I could go back to the guide again and read through that. You can see on the guide at the bottom here, we've got the same questions that are on the PowerPoint, and we've got the writing frame. So it might help just to read through the questions again. If you get really stuck, you can message me on Teams and ask for help with any of this. That's absolutely fine. I'm not going to work through and do each analysis and write it out, because I want you guys to try and attempt to write that yourselves. Once you've finished all of that, it's then about making all your PowerPoint a bit more personalised and a bit more interesting. And particularly people going for the higher levels, you might be thinking about that. So this slide is an example for the research side of things of what a level 4 would look like. And in terms of research, these 4 are more like what a level 7 pupil might do just for the research. That's before we've even done the analysis. You can see on the guide that there are little checklists to make sure you've done it. So this is the checklist for the research, and then down here we've got the checklist for the analysis. So I would suggest you tick off each thing when you've done it to know that it's done.